All ready? All right. Okay, it is 4:30, and I will call this meeting of Dunn County's Judiciary and Law Committee to order. First, well, that's the first item. Second item is the call of the roll. Supervisor Vandermeulen is here, Supervisor Gilbert, Supervisor Jetson, Supervisor Wilsey, and myself. Everyone is present. And now the approval of the minutes from the October 28th meeting. I will need a motion for that. Supervisor Vandermeulen. Supervisor Wilsey seconds. Any changes or discussion of the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Minutes are approved. Next item is public comments. Any public comments? No? All right. On we go to the reports of the departments, and welcome back, Sheriff. And anything you'd like to highlight on your report before we ask for questions?
No, I guess I don't have anything to add.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, I kind of refused to give up, and so I let Investigator Westland and Sergeant Stalker run with that. They've been to Wyoming to track down what turned out to be a family member. They've been to Michigan to track down who turned out to be a family member, and then on to Minnesota. So it's kind of a long process, but it's a long time coming. So.
I my own family, that sense of where they come from.
Oh.
Even going way
Carl.
back.
Hey, Carl, microphone.
Discovered that all my ancestors are northern Netherlands, but I have a little bit of what's called Oceania, which is like the South Pacific area. And as far as I can tell, I had an ancestor who was part of the Dutch East Indies, and not many women in the colonies then, so they took the local women as wives, and I think I must have one of those as an ancestor.
I'll
So
be darned.
you find out interesting things that way. So
And that's how Ramapo College follows up with, these leads in DNA through Ancestry.com and 23andMe and things like that. So they're able to track the family.
okay.
Anyone else have any questions for the sheriff? All right. We will move on to the clerk of courts. Katie, anything to highlight from your report or anything to add?
Nothing additional to add.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Katie? Do you have any sense of the folks you're going to follow up with at the state about the interpreters on the chance of that?
I'm hopeful. I submitted the report and the request last Friday. Last time I made a request, they did reimburse that full bill. The interpreter bill was a little over $2,000 for the 1-day jury trial. We do actually have a 5-day jury trial coming up the 2nd or 3rd week of December that I will need 2 Spanish interpreters for. So I can only imagine the cost of that if the trial goes. It's for the defendant of the case. So we'll have 2 interpreters around the clock with that individual. So I'm hopeful. I have not heard that the state has ran out of money. So hopefully we get some reimbursement from them.
Right. Thank you. Any other questions for Katie? All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Next up is CJCC. Sarah, anything you'd like to add to your report or highlight?
Sure. Just want to mention that we did have our last quarterly of the year last Thursday, and Sheriff is nominated as our new vice chair for the 25-26 term. And we have retired Judge Smeltzer coming back as a citizen member in 2025. So some adjustments to the council overall, but our executive's set to meet in December and continue business into the new year. Any questions on the report? All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Oh, Supervisor Vandermeulen.
This is a more general question. and I should maybe ask it when Melissa is here, but just, I've been listening to Ezra Klein's podcast, and one of the things he talks about is government efficiency, actually getting done, actually delivering so that people can see it, that government is accomplishing something. And that he mentions, for instance, that the New York subway system was agreed to in 1 year, and 2 years later, they had at least 10 stations operating. And he says it wouldn't happen anywhere near that rapidly today. So I'm thinking in terms of applying for grants, because a lot of the funding of at least some of the groups here is through grants. Do you find the process generally to be reasonable and fairly efficient and responsive, or do you find it to just be overburdening and just too complicated?
Do you want the honest answer?
Yeah.
Grants are becoming increasingly complicated and increasingly, there's a large administrative burden that comes with grants. Some are manageable, but even this, I would say the state ones are even more manageable than the federal ones. But those have been increasingly challenging. But every different department that administers grants administers them differently. So DHS grants are a little bit different than Department of Justice grants. But there is, there's some method to the madness. So once you kind of break through some of the challenges with grants, it's manageable. I would say one of the challenges is they'll put an announcement out and give you 2 weeks to write, a 40-page grant on a project, and that's really unrealistic unless you have all your ducks in a row. So a lot of what we do with the CJCC is collect data, talk about our needs as a system. So when those grants come out, we're able to quickly apply for them, but it's a lot of work, no doubt. So I'd like to see some efficiencies with grants. That'd be nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next up is the district attorney, and Andrea is not here tonight, but you have her report in your packets. And after that is child support. Josie, anything to add or that you'd like to highlight?
No, nothing additional. I'm happy to answer questions should there be any.
Any questions for Josie? Not even about the pumpkins?
At third place.
Looks very well done.
All credit to that goes to Alexis McGrath. She's the one who implemented the vision. So
Nice. Appreciate the pictures. Okay, up next is emergency management, and Melissa is she online or is she not here? Okay. Sounds good. Her report is also in your packets. And last but not least is medical examiner. Marcy, how you doing?
Good.
Anything to add?
No, I do not have anything to add.
Anybody have any questions for the medical examiner? All right. And that exhausts our agenda as I go down the numbers, unless there's any announcements other than wishing everyone a good Thanksgiving. All right, we are adjourned.